Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Raw, the Traders expansion by 25th Century Games.
You may be familiar with Raw, Reiner Knizia's famous auction bidding game, and that's been around for quite a long time. Well, we have for you guys the first expansion ever for Raw. This is the Traders expansion, and this comes from 25th Century Games, and it is going to be a part of their crowdfunding campaign that is launching on September 3rd on Kickstarter. There's going to be lots of games involved in this particular one that are all centered around the game Raw. We've got Raw and Right, which we did a preview video on. We've got Razzia, which we've done a preview video on, and now in this one we are going to be previewing the Traders expansion. So let's go down to the table where I'll show you what comes in this particular box and how it adds to the base game of Raw, and then we'll come back and share our thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. Alright, I have the Traders expansion for Raw on the table. Let me show you guys what comes in this box. Now, I do want to make sure you understand that what I have here is still prototype. As you can see, there's not even a back cover to this box, so this is prototype. The final artwork components, maybe some of the rules might change once it's released from crowdfunding. What you're going to have for the components with the new expansion are going to be these ship boards that are going to fit into the top of your player board from the base game. As you can see, it fits in this top groove right here. And so your player board area is going to be a little bit taller. There are also going to be ship tiles that are going to be added to the bag that you'll be drawing throughout the course of the game. They look like this right here. And then lastly, the last addition for the components are going to be these crates. So you have wooden painted crates, and these smaller ones are going to count as ones. And so let me get you a good close-up look of that. While these bigger ones are going to be fives. And so there you go. There's a good close-up of that. And they have pretty much the same consistency as the other painted wooden pieces from the base game. So really pretty nice, these crates here. So let's talk about what the rules are for this new expansion. So all this is really going to add is that whenever you draw one of these tiles, just like most of the other tiles that you would draw from the bag, they're going to be added to the auction row up here at the top. Now, whenever somebody wins an auction in which there are any number of ship tiles, they're going to all be added to the right side of the ship board. Now that I have one here, when another player earns any number of ship tiles, I'm going to get one crate for every one of my ship tiles for every one of their ship tiles that they have gotten in that auction. So in other words, let's say that I have 2 of these tiles here, and if an auction were to happen in which another player were to win 2 ship tiles in that auction, well, I have 2 ship tiles and they just got 2 ship tiles, and 2 times 2 is 4. I would earn 4 crates. So hopefully that makes sense to you, and I would put my crates right here. Standing them upright, of course, but that's where I would keep my crates. Now, at the end of every round, I'm going to get 1 point for every one of my crates and every one of my ship tiles. And so as you can see, as you collect these ship tiles, as other people also get them too. As long as you have ship tiles, your points are going to be then multiplied. The more ship tiles you have, for the more times other players get ship tiles, and it's all the other players. So whenever somebody gains a ship tile, you're going to look around and see who all has ship tiles already, and those players are the ones who are going to be getting the crates. Now you can swap these out once you get 5 of these for one of the bigger ones. That way they're saving space on your board, but you get the idea. And again, these are going to convert into points at the end of every round. Now, at the end of every round, you're going to get rid of all of your ship tiles. As you can imagine, they're here on the right side of your board, and just like in the base game, anything on the right side of your board is going to get discarded at the end of every round. You're also going to get rid of all of your crates at the end of every round. So you're starting over on this at the end of every round. But it is a nice way to get points, and there is some timing involved with this. deciding when to get these, because once other people start getting them, you don't want to start getting them too. You don't want to get in on this late because you're helping the other players. So you want to get on these early. So more thoughts on that when we start talking about that on our thoughts section of the video, but that's pretty much the gist of the game. So you've got more player boards here, more tiles added to the bag, and more wooden pieces that are going to be added to the game. There you have it. That's the new Traders expansion. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this. And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on the Traders expansion for Raw. But before we get to that, first let's share our brief thoughts on what we think about Raw. Sam, you played Raw a few times. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I like it. It looks more complicated than it is, I think, is my non-gamer opinion of the game.
Yeah, and it does. It has that look to it that it might be for, heavier gamers. Yeah. But I would say that it's light to medium weight kind of game.
Probably medium.
Medium for her, maybe medium, maybe light medium for the rest of us. But it's got this idea of auctioning and bidding for like what's out there, using your bidding tokens, trying to be wise about when to use those, because you've only got 4 to use each round, if even that, because sometimes the round can end early. And, you're trying to complete these sets, trying to get the different things that are going to score you points. That's this kind of game, right?
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful game, and it's smooth, and it's one of those games in which you can start off poorly, and then through the second and third rounds, at least I feel this way, you can really kind of hammer in on what you're trying to do to try to get caught back up in this game. And one of the things I love the most about this is that it has those tokens. The score markers are tokens that you keep face down, and so the score is kind of hidden. And other than seeing, the stockpile of tokens that everybody has, you don't know what those numbers are on them. So You're not 100% sure whether you're winning, losing. You might have an idea, but I like that aspect of the game. So it's a fun game, I feel like. One that you enjoy?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So now let's get to what we think about the Traders expansion. And so as you saw in that rules portion of the video, this is going to add a new board. It's going to add new tiles that you'll be drawing from the bag, as well as crates, which are going to be giving you points throughout the course of the round. And so this is going to be another thing that you might be, adding to the line, trying to weigh out whether you want to win these auctions so that you get these trader tiles that will eventually, hopefully, add ships to you. What do you think about this expansion?
I liked it. I think you kind of had to rethink your strategy, because you're like, oh, I see those votes, I want them. But then it's going to give the other person points. So I did that once. I ended up with like 5 votes, and I was like, which is good if you were to get a vote later.
Right.
And so I had to kind of think through that process a little bit more.
Yeah, there's definitely this aspect of, do I want that? Right? Like, because, on the surface, it seems like it's going to open up the possibility for a lot of points, right? And you're going to get points one way or the other with these.
It ended up working well for me.
It did. But the thing about it is like every time you get one, you're giving points to the other players too, right? And so you got to be careful about that aspect, right? Like you don't want to just keep hammering in on this if everybody has boats, because you're just helping them out.
Yeah.
So you got to play that cleverly. Try to get your boats early in a round, right? Before other people have boats, and then stop getting boats is I think kind of the idea with this one. So there's a lot of timing involved in when you get your boats, and that it plays a big strategy factor in the game that you never really had that with the base game. So it adds that extra layer of strategy with that timing aspect on it. I like the way they score too, in the sense that like you're getting the crates, you're getting the ships, both of those give you points, but just like some of the other tiles, they go away at the end of the round. So you're kind of restarting that aspect every time. Do you feel like it's an expansion that expands upon the game, that it gives the game more feel, more fun, more of an experience?
I definitely think it adds something to it. If it's a game, if Raw is a favorite of yours and you've played it multiple times, I think it does add something to it. I think it makes you want to play it again with something new. So it's not one of
Yeah.
those additions that you're just like, it's not really adding anything. It definitely adds something to it.
And I think it doesn't, give bloated rules. It doesn't weigh the game down in any
Yeah.
kind of way. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, because we've definitely had those too, where you're like, this just really takes away from the fun of the game. It's the same game. You just have an extra little strategy.
Yeah. The rules teach with the or the Traders expansion is only like an extra 30 seconds,
Yeah,
if that.
yeah.
You may have to kind of have that, that kind of go over it again where you have to say, now you're not getting the crates when you
Yeah,
draw the tile.
yeah.
It's when other people draw them, because that's the tricky part with
Yeah.
that. So,
But other than that,
yeah. I agree. I think it adds a whole lot to the game, and it's not like we just said, doesn't take that much more to invest in and explain to the players, especially if you're already familiar with Raw. Even if you're not familiar with Raw, I think it's one that you could probably just add in
Yeah.
with a new player and just say, okay, this is what this does. What do you think on
yeah,
that?
I think so for sure.
Yeah. So if you've not even played Raw before,
Because I never remember when I play a game anyway. So
right?
Make
Yeah.
up rules.
Yeah. So I think, you could probably just put this in with the base game and teach new players with just this, because
Yeah.
again, it's like 30 extra seconds to the teach.
It
So,
does. It meshes very well. It doesn't feel like it's an addition.
Exactly.
Which I think is a good sign of
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
expansion.
Now, two other things real quick I want to point out with this is that one of the big factors for me when it comes to an expansion is does it look like it fits into the game? Meaning, does the materials, the components, do they look like they're a part of the base game? And I feel that way with this one. The tiles look like the actual tiles from the base game that you're drawing from the bag. Those wooden crates are painted wooden pieces, just like the Raw statue or the other statue. I'm forgetting the name, the Sunboat statue. And so, they're painted wooden pieces, so that's really nice. And then the other factor that's very, very important, and I know it's probably important to you out there, is can it fit in the base game box? And we have it in the base game box right here. All the components that would be in this box are in this box. It does have
The last thing I ever think about.
it does have a little bit of a lid lift. Now I do have the retail version. Can't speak to the wooden deluxe version or whatever you call it. This is just the cardboard retail version. So your mileage may vary if you've got the different version out there. So, but that I know that's probably important to some people out there. So
I bet it is.
it is important. I know people are like, yeah, I wanted to know that. So. But there you have it. That's our thoughts here on the Traders expansion, the first ever expansion for Raw from Reiner Knizia. And it is 25th Century Games and their big Kickstarter again that's launching on September 3rd. Make sure to check out the link down below in the description of this video to get all the details on it. And while you're down there, leave us some comments.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.